I live my life every single day knowing that we don't die, because I see the spirits, I talk to the spirits, and I feel my own loved ones with me. And whether you've lost a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother, a child, a pet, what's so beautiful is this, is that knowing that they're there and with you gives you what you need to continue to live life. The hardest thing is losing a loved one here in this world. Death is the most challenging thing that we go through as humans. But what I gotta tell you is this, is that I could not live my life every day, be the happy person that I am, enjoy my life if I didn't know my own loved ones were here and with me. Every day I sense them, I feel them, I get signs from them. And what's so beautiful is that doing the work that I do, what I really wanna show people is that there is life after death. And if I could share with you what I see as a medium, you would see your loved ones are with you, beside you every single day, through the most challenging moments, through the good times, through the in-between times, through everything that you go through. They're right here, they're right by your side. And you can communicate with them as well. There's this amazing thing that happens when we die. It's called the life review. This is something that every soul goes through, because the life review is basically our soul transitioning from this world to the other side. And before we actually fully transition over into heaven, something happens. And that is that we meet our spirit guides, we meet our loved ones that had passed away, we meet our angels. And you know, the number one question that I think that people ask is, where the hell were you? Where the hell were you when I was going through my divorce? Where the hell were you when I was in that accident? Where the hell were you when this happened? Why didn't you warn me about this, and this? Well, what's really cool is that when we're transitioning onto the other side, we get to ask those questions. And for once, we get to see the answers. We get to know why we went through certain challenges, why we went through certain struggles, why it was that we had to go through 2 divorces before we met our soulmate, why it was that we started with one job and ended up with another. It's all part of our journey here within life. And what people don't realize is that we're meant to make mistakes. We're meant to fail. We're meant to go through challenges, but it's how you pick yourself up, and you will pick yourself up. And it's all a learning lesson at the same time. What's really cool is this, is that once we go to the other side and we go through this life review, we not only see all of these times where we wonder where our spirit guides are and our angels are, but it really makes us take into account what the meaning of our life was. It's at that moment that we discover our life purpose, what we were supposed to do here in this world, and the lessons that we were supposed to learn, whether we did or didn't. When I talk to the other side, we don't just have one life purpose. Our life purpose changes throughout our lives. Our life lessons change throughout our lives, right? So I feel our soul is constantly evolving. We have many life purposes here in the physical world. At the end of our life, when we go through this life review, there's this big sheet that's there that basically says, this is what you learned, this is what you did, this is what you fell short on. And there's also a point where we can redeem ourselves in the case that we didn't fulfill. That's where a spirit guide comes in. So for example, you have a spirit guide with you, I have a spirit guide with me, everyone who's listening has a spirit guide with them. And your spirit guide, although it sounds spooky or mystical or strange, is actually a person who died, who used to live here in this world, that is now on the other side and has taken a special liking to you. And the reason why they took a special liking to you, and the reason why they're helping you from the other side, is because there was something about their life purpose that they see that you're gonna carry out and fulfill here in this world. So for example, let's say that your spirit guide passed of an addiction here in the physical world and didn't fulfill their life purpose. Well, on the other side, they might become someone's spirit guide who is gonna go through that struggle so they can help them not make the same mistake that they did. You have a team in heaven. You are not alone. You have angels, you have loved ones, and you have spirit guides who are all sending you messages and all trying to communicate with you in different ways. I think of this all the time. I mean, to me, that's really what the life review is. It's really looking back on all of those times. And it also gives us a time within our soul to be able to release the burdens, right? Because as humans, so many things that we hold on to every single day. We hold in the mistakes from our past, the mistakes with other people. We hold in the hurt and pain caused by other people. We hold on to grudges. We hold on to past anger. We hold on to resentment. We hold on to all guilt. We hold on to all of these things. And at the end of our life, in order for our soul to be at peace, we let go of that. We leave it here in this world, and that's what allows our soul to pass so peacefully to the other side. It's peaceful for them, it's painful for us. I think there's so many people that are afraid to die. They're afraid to leave this world. They don't want to go to the other side. But then something amazing happens. What most people don't realize is that we actually start our transition here in this world before we actually transition on to the other side. And what I mean by that is that if you've been at the bedside, like you said, with people who are passing away, you'll notice that many times those individuals will talk talk about seeing souls before they pass away. They might see their dad that passed years ago. They might see someone that you don't know or that you don't see, but they see. They might be like, oh, pull up a chair for this little girl. And you're like, what little girl? There's no little girl in the room. Well, they're not hallucinating. It's not the medication. It's their soul starting to transition to the other side and being able to see into heaven. And that's what makes every soul pass so peacefully. Whether they pass in tragedy or whether they pass of a long-term illness where they know that they got time, one thing happens, and that is we don't transition onto the other side alone. We have our angels, our loved ones, and our spirit guides there that come, that greet us, and that help us transition over. It's really hard because that's it. That seems so permanent. When somebody closes their eyes here in this world, we're like, oh my God, I'm never gonna see that person again. I'm not gonna be able to hug that person. What happens now? But for that person on the other side, they're still able to see into your life. They're still able to look in on every moment. And that's the reason why your loved ones don't miss you in heaven, right? They're not there missing you or sad or upset or anxious over you, because they not only can see your life in the present time, but they also can see what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. That's the reason why, as a medium, I know what I do. I know what I know when I do my work, right? People say to me all the time, well, Matt, how did you know that I was going to get pregnant? How did you know I was going to have 2 kids? How did you know I was going to move? Well, I don't know that information, but your loved ones do know that information, because when you're in heaven, you have a higher consciousness. You're able to tap into something called universal knowledge, which is the soul's way of being able to see things that are going to happen in your life and the lives of the people that they love and care about. So what Spirit tells me is this: we all have a way to sense our loved ones, feel our loved ones, and connect with our loved ones. It actually starts when we're first born. So first of all, to understand how souls communicate, you're going to think about it from way back when. We don't start our journey here in this world. We actually start our journey as a soul in heaven that's getting ready to be born here in this world. We exist before we exist. So we start off as a soul in heaven. We're born here in this world, and this is important for one reason: because you've already met your parents, you've already met your grandparents, you've already met people who had passed on before you. And that's why at the end of life, when we go back, heaven is a familiar place to us. It's not like we enter into this unknown world. But the thing is when we're first born here in this world, all children will see, sense, feel, and have some type of connection with the other side and the spirit world. So that's the reason why young children will see spirit, hear spirit, point to people that aren't maybe giggling in their crib or whatever it may be. What's really amazing is that even though we can't see it as we're older, children can see the souls visiting them and communicating with them and all of these things. So here's the reason why I'm telling you this, is that as children get older, that ability fades. Some will hold on to it. Those are the kids that we know as the psychic kids. But for most of us, that will fade and diminish. We don't remember coming out of the womb, thank God, right? But it happens. Well, what I want you to know is this, is that we always have that connection. We always have that connection with the other side. What's so beautiful and what I've learned is that there's a way to get it back. You have a telephone line to heaven, whether it is that you sense your loved ones, feel your loved ones, hear your loved ones, dream of your loved ones. You have a psychic gift. And it first starts with discovering how you're psychic. How do you receive information? Are you really super sensitive? You can tell if someone's a good person, if they're a bad person, if they're telling the truth, if they're lying. Are you someone that gets dreams, you get premonitions, or maybe you see people who had passed on and they come to you with messages? Are you somebody that you can see spirit? Sometimes you might see orbs, you might see something out of the corner of your eye. The thing is that there's so many different ways to connect. And I can tell you this because my grandmother was a medium, my mom's a medium, I'm a medium, but all three of us have completely different gifts and a completely different way of connecting with the other side and speaking to spirit. Everybody always asks me, how do you know a sign is real? Well, first of all, a sign represents your loved one. If you see something and immediately think of your loved one in spirit, it's a sign. So a lot of times people are looking for the generic signs like dragonflies, butterflies, repeating numbers, and those are all signs. But a sign is really anything that reminds you of a loved one who had passed on. And this is the reason why. When your loved ones go to heaven, when they transition on into heaven, part of the transition process is learning how to communicate through the worlds, from their worlds into our world. So when your loved ones die, they actually choose signs that they're going to use to reach you. And every soul communicates differently. So your dad might send you one sign, your mom might send you a completely different sign. But it all depends on their personality and who they were. The thing that I want people to know is this, is that when you're connecting with signs, remember that it follows a loved one's personality. If your dad was a bird watcher here in this world, he might send you birds. If your dad had a certain number, that might be the number that he sends you in spirit, right? How did he connect with you when he was living? That's how he'll try to connect with you from the afterlife. I can't tell you how many readings I do that people get so pissed off and they come to me, they're like, Matt, I don't understand. My sister's getting so many signs from my father. She sees this, and this. Why am I not getting those same signs? Me and my dad loved each other too. And I'm like, well, your dad's with you. He just doesn't communicate with you in that way. You can't look at someone else's signs and try to apply it to your life, because the thing is that we all have a different relationship, even if we're in the same family. So for example, me and my mom, we have a psychic gift. Every time we're with one another, all we talk about is the spirit worlds and the other side and the afterlife and all that stuff. My sister has no psychic ability whatsoever. She doesn't want to know it, doesn't want to hear it. She wants something to do with it. So when my mom and my sister are together, they talk about shopping, Worth Avenue, things that they ate for breakfast, whatever they talk about, but they definitely don't talk about psychic medium stuff. So it's a totally different conversation. For example, if my mom was on the other side, she'd be talking to me differently than she'd be talking to my sister, because it's the same way we were within life.